Take a look at this. Last week I went to my local supermarket and I found this. It's avocado, but what attracted my attention to this one is this. A pretty good ad for a new Disney movie. So I decided to do a bit of digging and research, and the more questions I asked, the deeper I went into the rabbit hole. Why is Disney advertising movies on fresh produce, and especially fruits? Are those fruits as healthy as we think they should be? And Disney being a global brand, known almost all over the world, how they could affect kids and adults as well with these ads. This story is about fruits and how Disney is always looking for new opportunities to promote their movies. But it's also bigger than that. It's also about people who breathe, work and live around plantations where fruits are produced. How their health is affected by our simple choices and what they need to do every day so that the world can consume something like this. All this. So let me tell you a story about avocado, Disney, and the truth about fruit.
Most of the avocados Americans eat come from Mexico.
I eat a banana. I do. I have it with a cup of tea.
Even Hawaii doesn't grow pineapple anymore. Brazil does. Costa Rica.
This holiday season, McDonald's is celebrating Disney and Pixar's A Bug's
Disney
Life.
from early 80s started to advertise the movies on various things, the most famous being Happy Meal and McDonald's.
Heimlich! Look what you've done!
It was a great win for both Disney and McDonald's, both sharing and targeting the same demographics. They could sell more movie tickets and burgers at the same time. Around 2010s, the collaboration between those two biggest companies started to fade, with some controversies considering McDonald's and their menu for kids. McDonald's started to be attacked by angry parents who thought that the company don't provide healthier options for the kids. And they were probably right. Disney very quickly was looking for other options to promote the movies. We can say that they were also looking for healthier options, and they definitely found it. And that's how we arrived to this avocado. I feel like this is Disney's answer to the problems that they had with McDonald's. When almost 90% of your movies are targeted on kids, you can't afford to be tied to unpleasant problems that McDonald's faced. Of course, Disney and McDonald's collaborate together till this day, but I think Disney is being more careful now. But going back to the main story, Disney teamed up with few fruit companies to promote their movies on apples, oranges, bananas, and so on. They killed basically two birds with one stone.
Disney is teaming up with Dole Food Company on a new line of fruits and vegetables.
Branded with popular Disney characters to motivate kids to eat more blueberries, bananas.
They were able to keep promoting movies to kids, but in the process, also promoting healthy foods, which is a plus in the eyes of any parent. And the problem solved, right? Well, not really. You see, when it comes to exotic fruits like avocados, pineapples, and bananas especially, almost 80% of those fruits come from Latin America, and to be more specific, Central America. Countries like Ecuador, Colombia, Mexico, and Costa Rica being one of the biggest exporters of bananas in the world. A country of a size of West Virginia needs to produce a lot of bananas to cover the world's demand. But all this comes with a cost. The cost of people's health and impact on nature. If you ever have a chance to see a banana trees with a blue plastic bag, you better walk the other direction, because that field and those trees are sprayed with a lot of pesticides. To grow quickly, efficiently and in large quantities, farmers need to use chemicals like pesticides to kill unwanted bacteria and viruses. But very often in the process, they also kill good bacteria and get rid of ecosystems. And Costa Rica is in top 5 countries with the most used pesticides per hectare. They use 22 kilos of pesticides per hectare, and that is official information. Unofficial information say that this number can reach up to 35 kilos per hectare. To put this in perspective, countries like Germany, for example, they use 4 kilos per hectare. That's almost 10 times less. You could spray the same crop once a day in Germany, or 10 times a day in Costa Rica. And that's a problem. And that amount of chemicals must link to health cases around that area. In 2010, 146 people were treated for pesticide poisoning. Schools which are near plantations are affected by the planes which spray chemicals from the air. Kids in schools and people all over Costa Rica are poisoned by the water which contains chlorofalanyl, at the levels up to 200 times higher than the safe limit. And because of that, many don't have access to fresh water. What's also concerning is that many people in Latin American countries have become sterile because of their unsafe work on plantations, often without any protective gear. We can only assume that all these health cases are somehow connected to the rise of cancer reports. Looking at this graph, Costa Rica is being affected the most, and illnesses like stomach cancer and tongue cancer being the most common ones. The same companies that Disney collaborates with, like Dole Fruit and Del Monte, say that there is no credible scientific evidence that the company is using chemicals that can cause injuries, including sterility. But wait. Let's stop for a minute. Was this film meant to be about like avocados and Disney? And how the hell all this affects me, you may ask? Costa Rica is to blame, right? They are using those chemicals. Well, that's not the whole truth. You know these pesticides I mentioned that is used in Costa Rica extensively? In 2019, EU banned these pesticides and many more to not be used on European soil because it was presumed to be a carcinogen and can contaminate drinking water very easily. But countries like Germany, Italy, Belgium and UK exported 1,000 tons of that chemical to countries like Costa Rica, Algeria and Cameroon. That's 30 trucks filled with chemicals, or around 6,000 bathtubs. And you may say, well, not a huge deal. These chemicals are used like thousands of miles away from us. But this creates a toxic boomerang, as these substances return to European and US plates through imported foods, like this avocado, for example. So why companies in Europe are still allowed to export these chemicals to less developed countries? Even though the chemical was banned, people in Europe, US, and all over the world are affected by it. In 2023, Costa Rican president banned the use of this chemical, but there's still many more which can affect the people's health. And this is a step in the right direction, right? And to be honest, we could end the video here. The chemical that caused so much pain is banned, right? End of story. But there's always more. Fruit companies, especially giants like Dole, will never admit to any of those health cases or any allegations. We can only assume that the only truth lies with those workers and people who are affected by those chemicals every day. People who are struggling with those illnesses and don't have access to fresh water, simply because the world needs more fruits and Disney needs more space for advertising. I think it also opens another interesting topic, that the things that happen far away may have long-term impact on everyone. The chemicals used in Latin America may also impact you. The disasters that happen on the other side of the planet may have consequences in your countries as well. Greed of those companies can destroy not only ecosystems and health, but also communities. What remains is destruction and ill people. Of course, not every fruit or veg is sprayed 10 times a day with unhealthy pesticides. We can still find organic, real produce from farms that care about ecosystems, animals, and people. It's definitely hard to track the actual origin of those fruits, and sometimes we have to hope that they are grown naturally without any pesticides. But I think we can all agree that those informations about what pesticides were used to grow those foods should be more accessible, so that we can not only choose the region that the fruit originates from, but also what chemicals were used to produce that fruit. That is still an area of information that many don't have access to. But the most important thing is that we should be able to choose to be healthy, and people who care and work on those plantations should be healthy as well. Because no matter at which end you are, we are both affected. And although avocados have a low chance of being contaminated by pesticides, and maybe this one isn't sprayed with so many chemicals, but the next one could be.